be out to she'll be out to join us here shortly. So we're going to just quickly go down into number 3 on the agenda, since we don't have any new people here to go over any of that background information related to Picture Perry and the goals and objectives for economic development. So, Sarah, I don't know, I didn't give you a copy of the agenda. There you go. So we'll postpone the first item with Jasmine back in the back room. We'll talk to her a little bit about her progression into her new role. As far as like economic development authority, are you talking about any new potential initiatives, Marty, right at the present time that you'd care to share with us, or?
Well, I think that what's happening now is that we are fortunate on one hand to have lots of state money to work with on sidewalks, crosswalks, maybe some roads. But we're going to have to get some, so we're actually pretty excited about that. But we, that's going to take more help than just what Jasmine can really oversee. So it's, our board is going to have to step up. So they're going to get a little discussion this week at the board meeting.
And that's a blending of stuff with the hometowns program, right?
Yes, it is.
All right.
It's part of what was on our first agreement or narrative, I guess is the best word. So I think that, I'm just concerned that we have a short time period. And so I don't know if we can get an extension. I'm hoping we can, but I think this is the second extension for some of these grants. So anyway, I think that we're still focusing on, just everything that's going on in our Main Street designation. And I'm sure Jasmine will discuss her, she's changing the narrative a bit of what was sent in. So, and I think that makes sense since she's going to be responsible for that. So that's where we are.
Okay. Right. And as far as like the facade program, I mean, that's kind of on hold to try to get monies to renew, or is that, I know at the last EDA meeting, we were talking about it a little bit.
I think we're going to be talking about that this week again at the board meeting. And there is funding, and Tara found it, that we could probably use. It's a significant amount that we could use for some facades. And that was a tough project, but I think that with the crew we have, and with again, our board members have to help, I think we can and should continue with really what was a great program. And hopefully we have people that are already in line and want to do something. So
yeah, that's a real positive thing with that. The initial pursuit was very successful, and I think that it's a testament to the program to see that many people signing, up interest to kind of continue that. So yeah, hopefully, there could, potentially be some type of a revolving program there that, has some, self-sustaining elements to it that keeps the money flowing in to take care of a certain amount of, projects per year or something.
Well, knock on wood, we've been fortunate thus far, so hopefully we'll keep that monetary help coming. So
yeah. Okay, so that one kind of bridges both between hometown's program and the EDA. So recognizing that all these EDA has hands in on these projects anyway, but
Yes, we
uh,
do.
yeah. So um, as far as so it's mostly right now basically about kind of managing the existing pursuits that you've had kind of on the books and trying to get them, accomplished if it's going to be if there's going to be a chance to accomplish them. I know that there's been some issues with um, the signage, the wayfinding signage that
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that
It's
doesn't
a
seem
shame
it
now.
doesn't seem to be able to be overcome under the current allowances that PennDOT has in their structure for their
Right,
rights of way.
right.
Yeah.
And that's what really also happened with our two of our arts projects. They the the fund or not funding, the documents that we got from PennDOT were just beyond what the two boroughs that were going to have um, art projects on one of the aqueducts, and it's ridiculous.
Hmm.
And the attorney general had to sign it too. I mean, seriously?
Oh wow, wow. Um, do
That was
you,
the real, geez.
yeah. Do you know if other regions are having to deal with the same thing, or is this just
Well,
like a district eight office? Or is this coming out of central office, the main PennDOT
oh
central?
yeah, it's coming out. Yeah, definitely it's coming from the central office. And I think what's interesting is there have been, well, everybody knows about that one art project that's on one of the aqueducts. I mean, it's beautiful and it's PennDOT's property, but nobody got a contract. They just went and did it. Um, I mean, you got to wonder. I mean, if we tried to do that, it wouldn't go well for us. So I don't know.
What
I
do they
just,
call that? They call that urban activism or
yeah, I
something
believe it
like
is.
it's.
It is. Uh,
Huh.
anyway, it's too bad, but we still have to do those last. We have three more arts projects that are out there. Two of them
Boy,
were, as I said, for the PennDOT thing. We had to find new
places.
locations.
Yeah. And so that being said, there's like three different.
I'm talking too much, don't I? You guys have a good day.
Okay, you too,
Bye-bye.
Mima. um, so trying to think the the
Did I
three.
scare somebody away?
Oh no, that was one of our former business ladies here in Bloomfield that came
Oh,
in.
oh, okay.
Yeah. um, the three particular art projects that are still kind of outstanding are what, New Buffaloes with the.
Nope, that's okay. It's
That's all right. Okay.
Millerstown, Marysville, and Blaine.
Okay.
And Blaine is just kind of I don't know, it's a ping pong. But I believe Jasmine is all over them. So anyway, we'll see. It it was just I don't know, too many people making decisions and not the right people. And so now I think we have the right people, and I'm confident that this too shall happen in our lifetime.
Well, Jasmine's joined us now, so
Okay.
perhaps she can offer up some thoughts on her initial like couple of weeks here for her visits that she's had with the municipalities that she's talked to, and just
Yeah.
be a little open on still what kind of the dialogue has been, and how the climate
Mhm.
in her eyes, what she feels can be accomplished there.
Well, we have some of the boroughs that I've had one-on-one conversations with most of the ambassadors. You call them, they're
Mhm.
our point people who are the conduit between the information flowing to the boroughs and the information flowing back to the Main Street commit manager. So I'd say Blaine actually has one of the ones that I could consider like working Main Street committee, like a core of people that work together, apart from any other revitalization org or the borough. And so there's Blaine.
Does that group, does it have somebody from council joining them?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Kim
Rose?
maybe, and then
okay.
I think there's another person.
She's a secretary.
Yeah, so there's two. And then Newport's obviously Newport Revitalization and Preservation Society. So I mean, there's ones that already have a revitalization
Mhm.
org, and it's just having that point person
Right.
that, like Laura. I talked to Laura Campbell there. I'm trying to work with Teresa Hunger to be sort of a conduit for Millerstown.
Okay. Yep.
And then
Because she's the daughter of Kirk Black.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some
So-
transitions going on with that organization currently.
Yeah.
So kind of waiting to see how that shakes out. Marysville, the most recent folks who were involved with that are sort of, I think one's going to have a baby soon and the other ones are kind of just tapped out right now. And so I reached out to Rick Stees, who was
Oh yeah.
involved. He's a former engineer
Hmm.
and was involved with the railroad memorial. And so he has an eye on that wall, and he actually provided me with measurements for
Great.
the space, which I passed along to the muralist.
Yeah.
My next thing in that queue is to get a contract out to the business owners to sign off that we can put the mural there.
That's nice.
So I
Yeah.
can check that off the list.
Oh, nice.
What else? Liverpool, they have a small group, and they have like the Hoffmans and Joni Mitchell, and they are in tandem with the borough. They're looking to do some park benches, so that's their most recent thing is fundraising for park
For the
benches.
square.
That have a
Okay.
design, and they were working on talking about placement. I think they're going to do that tomorrow night. They'll be looking at sites for placement. And then I had
They're doing
they
street
applied for
lighting.
street lighting.
Hmm.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that might have been a transportation enhancements funding or something that they were looking for a while back. I think they were able to leverage some. They've been pretty successful in Liverpool getting some money of
Mhm.
late.
Yeah.
So
Marching forward, they're keeping focused, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
And on Canon, I know Mike Wolfersberger has said that they have new developments in terms of river access that they've been trying to explore and the subway tunnels.
okay.
So
Yeah.
he's excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if they find some legitimate you know um, participation from Norfolk Southern on that front, hopefully it'll
I think they might. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
hopefully it'll extend itself and find its way up to Newport, because they could definitely benefit from it. They don't all have the luxury that Marysville does and have a state road that goes underneath the railroad tracks.
Part of the
Well, I mean, other than 34 obviously goes under Newport, but that's it.
Right.
And there's quite a lineal distance, north to south in the borough there. It'd be nice to have like one or two other options on at each end of town.
trying to think of. I think most of them are missing. New Bloomfield. I was talking to Jessica Grindle here in New Bloomfield, and I met Melinda Anderson the other day
Mhm.
for president. Just trying to get on the same page there.
Yeah, we were talking before we started about the possibility of looking at some type of a traffic calming type, because it's such a straight stretch through town here, to look at, maybe some bump outs or something to try to, keep some of this traffic coming in from the east or west end of town.
The way that
We
they
also
fly
talked about
through.
the
Yeah.
monument and the discouragement from crossing directly at the monument. if
Yeah,
that's possible.
we were looking. Tri-County did it was a squares study. It was done we did one in each of the three counties, and it was evaluated. This square here was evaluated for Perry. One in Halifax was evaluated in Dolphin, and the Newville one, the four corner intersection in Newville was looked at because of the concern over the truck traffic that was, with the coming off of 81 and running up to get on the turnpike. A lot of them, instead of going to Carlisle, they like to do that, Yeah. So, or that south to north, like they're coming out of Maryland up from Hagerstown or something. They come in there and then they get on the turnpike and then head west. So,
What did they find out here for New Bloomfield?
well, one of the recommendations was removal of that crosswalk next
How
to
does
the
that
monument.
happen?
I guess they're. I think it would be a prudent gesture to try to get some support locally for a change.
Because
And-
the study was the study. It was
Yeah.
the square study.
Yeah,
You study it first.
yeah. They looked at the study.
Support.
The study offered up some general design suggestions, like I think there was a removal of a couple of parking spaces on the ends, so there would be better visibility. There was a look at relocating the monument, which that's kind of a taboo topic.
Yeah.
So, trying to think, there was like two or three suggested options there. Larry, do we still have that squares study like posted up on our website that Hats did?
Which
It
square
probably
is it,
is.
Jason?
Yeah, there should be a study that's on the transportation tab of our website that looks at uh, three squares in our region. It was the Bloomfield Borough Square, Halifax, and Newville. And
Is that under the plans and publications?
does transportation have that as a drop-down option?
Yes, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, where is it located? Did you say 743 or am I mistaken?
I didn't get that.
Where is it located? The study, for which intersection or road that you're talking about?
Well, we were just kind of discussing the one in Bloomfield in that report.
Yeah, but which report, Jason?
Oh, well,
I'm
I
looking at
don't know.
which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the report or study. But it is. I believe it's posted on our website. Maybe I can navigate to it. Yeah, it's if you are able to find it while we're continuing discussion, Larry, that'd be great. But if not, I'll try to track it down from our iDrive or something and send everybody here a copy of it so they can all look and see what we're talking about for some of these options.
Okay.
Or you can chase down one of the hat staff in the office if there's anybody there. Maybe they know where it is. All right. So yeah, I mean, we obviously want to try to kind of emulate, maybe to a lesser degree what Harrisburg's trying to do with like that zero. What do they call that? It's basically looking at zeroing out the line on pedestrian fatalities. And there was a program initiative that they had put together a few years back, but in our county, it's these crosswalks. We've been fortunate in the county. There have been some instances, but I don't believe there's been any fatalities. But it's sooner or later the numbers and the odds will probably go against that. And safety is always on our minds in transportation. So, yep. So Tara, you're you're sharing dual role responsibilities now, right?
for now.
Okay, so you're the EDA director as well as
No. EDA office administrator
okay,
and the chamber director.
chamber director. Okay, all right. So with that, what can you tell us about the EDA right now, as far as like, is there any new initiatives that you're looking at?
As Marty said, I've been diving into the grants, like really diving into them. And Jasmine and I have been working together discussing, potential facades, doing more. We've talked about, the potential for doing some wayfinding, but not on the large PennDOT scale.
Right.
We've talked a little bit about that. So, I mean, we have things that we're talking about and going back and forth with to try and find the best way to utilize those funds, and like Marty said, we did find some other money. So
Yeah, that's great.
yeah, it's just finding what we're going to be able to do.
I don't know if you ladies have had a chance to really, probably you, Tara, more than Jasmine, but in terms of the content of Picture Perry, is there anything that we should be looking at for inclusion that we're just totally missing the boat on with the plan that it might help with some type of future grant pursuit that you might undertake that maybe needs to be a little bit clearer or open to? Just, you don't have to answer the question today, but you just always keep that in the back of your minds, because we want to make sure that we can continue to support those types of pursuits that are going to better our communities. So, how about with the chamber, Terry? Last time we had this discussion, there was the regional map and all of the area businesses that was created and pamphleted up really nicely.
Well, that and the books.
Have all where they were all placed and distributed, have they been going like hotcakes?
They have been.
Yeah.
I've had to restock quite a few businesses. Over the summer, we had an intern in here and she was reaching out to everyone to see if they needed stock. And there were quite a few. They're like, yeah, we could use more. So she and I took some time out, I think twice, and went out and delivered.
Wow.
The 2,000 copies of the guidebook that I delivered to Getaways on Display, they sent me a report. Now, I delivered those towards mid to end of May. And they sent me a report at the beginning of August, and that was to say that through the end of July of the 2,000, they had already distributed 1,200 of the books. They had just been taken off the shelves.
Wow.
So they still had about 800 copies left.
What would be interesting is everybody that advertised in there to ask and see what kind of increases maybe they saw as a result of the extra advertising, and whether there was a spike or anything that kind of kicked out, which would really legitimize the continued.
Well, I know for a fact that right after it first came out last fall, Lindsay Hutchinson at People's Provision reached out to me, and she goes, I just had someone walk into my store because they saw my ad in the guide.
Cool.
And had never been here.
Very cool.
So, I mean, obviously it's working.
Yeah.
They are working on the second guide. I was anticipating it to be out around this time. Apparently they had to push it back because of the number of responses.
That wanted to be in it.
Again, we're looking at an 80-page book with a lot of full-page ads.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how much does a full-page ad run the people that are putting it in there?
I think it's like a little over $1,000.
Wow. They've seen gains.
Yes.
They wouldn't do that if they didn't see gains. And that's something. Impressive. So, is there anything else maybe to report on Chamber this month, or?
Not yet.
No. Okay. Tourism. We still are operating in the county that does not have a tourism board. And I think that, this board of commissioners would be the one to probably finally get one established.
I was gonna say, is that not being worked on though?
Yes, it is being worked on.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's an update that I needed. So are there
The
going to be
problem is, it's all the same people, so we have to, well,
okay.
we need to get more folks, and hopefully younger folks too, that want to participate in countywide projects or
Mhm.
get on some of these boards. I can
Yeah.
tell you, I'm not getting any older, and I mean, I am, I meant younger. So it's, yeah, I mean, all this stuff does have to happen. So I don't know. There's just so much our folks can do. I don't know. And I don't know how to get people to really want to participate. It just seems like it's not impossible, but man, you just have to beg people.
Yeah.
And even then they say, oh, I went to one meeting, but I really didn't like it. Oh, great. I don't know. It's a whole, and I do hate to say that it is younger people, I think, that are not, now I don't know what the definition of younger is. Everybody's younger to me, but we don't have that desire that I think we need. They're almost too young if you try to get kids in high school, but it would be nice if they were living in the county, obviously, and maybe have a job of their own or work, even if they work outside of the county, but they want to participate in the county. We're just having I don't know, it's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough.
Yeah. I find there's a lot of state employees that reside in the county that have some tremendous roles. And I mean, your board has one on it, a former state employee. It's difficult to get them to step back in to do that, but they have a lot of valuable knowledge that we would love to tap on our boards, because of the roles that they once had, or currently have, for that matter. It's just, I guess the commute gets to them or something, and they just don't want to be bothered with another evening meeting, or you know
Yeah.
but your board meets during the day, so that's to your benefit. I mean, I don't know. It's difficult from our perspective. I know, trying to field a full board of planning commission members.
Right.
So, but no, I get that. I feel like, though, knowing how much the EDA has done, um, on the lines of tourism. I mean, obviously, even the chamber as well, with these Discover Perry County booklets, and trying to get that all worked out. I I feel like one of the two probably should already be listing tourism as part of their identity, because in the title of the board, or something, because it's already kind of there. The tourism promotion agency, item that we've talked about, with the potential to establish a hotel tax, a bedroom or a room tax on visitors to the county, to help with tourism promotion. Um, the TPA is a must to have in place.
Right.
So,
And I can
um,
tell you, Hershey has already been notified of this, and because that's who, technically, that's who we are connected with. Yeah,
yeah,
don't even ask. So yeah, and I can tell you, they're not happy.
about
Not happy.
losing the
The,
proceeds.
yeah, losing Perry County.
Well,
But with all of the B and Bs and, you know, the state is already taking their amount from people who own those businesses. There's also, you know, the tourism money. And so that's what we need to get in this county, and that's what we're working with the commissioners on that.
mhm. So it was made official. Did the commissioners already separate themselves from Hershey Harrisburg
Well,
visitors?
we have to wait, we're in the process. We're in the process of creating the actual entity and who's gonna be
Okay.
in it. And, you know, but again, it's one of those things that you can't keep using the same people. You have to get new people. And I think some of that is, it's a little slower because of that right now. I think that's what's
Mhm.
going on.
Yeah.
So, but the
Yeah.
attorneys are all over it, so we're making progress, or I should say
Yeah.
the county, but you know,
Right. Right. Well, so that's a stay tuned item
yes,
there. Yeah. Well, it obviously for those around the county to wonder about, what does tourism promotion entail for Perry County? We've always been kind of left to wonder because it just doesn't seem like we get as much publicity as the other larger attractions to our region.
right.
And if there is a separate TPA that's actually focused on, just the assets of Perry County, there's more than enough to draw people here.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely. Yeah,
we got the second most covered bridges in the state of any county. So, you know, that alone is something that a lot of people don't know about.
right.
It's until they get here and they're like, wow, you have some amazing bridges. But then we have our small towns that are quaint and, towns that other areas wish that they could see in their communities. That we have a whole host of them here that often go unmentioned in our region.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, that's a case of, if somebody was receiving monies to do certain things for the county, um, I'd have to say I'd have to take a look at what was actually provided, for the monies over the years. I think a lot of people would have to ask that question too.
right.
All right. Um, so down under item 4, we're going to revisit the economic development efforts of the past in our prior comprehensive plan. One was our subdivider developers resource guide, which Larry, you can open that up. That was that one tab that I had you kind of prep there. So this is on our website. You guys can't see this too well, but it's on our website. And what we do is we every year we go back and revisit the content, make sure it's up to date, contact people, relative to a whole host of things, whether it's erosion sedimentation control with a conservation district, the permits that are required there through their office, subdivision land development activity. We look at all of our municipalities and who has the responsibility of oversight when it comes to reviewing subdivision land development, and as well as zoning. Those municipalities that have zoning, tried to draw up a quick summary of, the map kind of depicts that. There's a flow chart in there to make people a little nutty probably when they go through that. But yeah, this came out of our last comprehensive plan. I know Rich was a big proponent of this on the EDA board. He wanted to see something put together to kind of help people through the proverbial development minefield. There is another item that kind of falls in line with that, and we worked at the regional level to develop kind of a uniform language toolkit for planning for municipalities to go to and focus on, if you're looking at doing zoning as it relates to solar, well, what kind of language should I put in the ordinance? Here's kind of an accepted structure for that. We want to make sure that, when municipalities are coming to the county and asking for our review of those ordinances, that, we offer up some sound suggestions. Well, we always go back to the toolkit to try to encourage them to kind of be more in line with the toolkit, so that when a developer goes to one borough or one township, they're going to come across the same verbiage language, so it doesn't vary and it stays consistent as best as it can. Everybody wants their own little changes to be recognized and the uniqueness. It's like, you don't have to do that really when it comes to ordinance language. Borough versus township, arguably there's size of lots and things like that vary. There's more of a need for sidewalks in your borough areas than your outlying townships in the woods. They're out in the ag fields. But even when you come to those provisions in municipalities that have those provisions, it's usually connected or tied to some type of provision that relates it to the community. So if it's within 200 feet or 1,000 feet of another sidewalk, then the obligation is to put it in. Yes, there might be gaps, but at some point somebody might do something with the property in between, and then therefore you require it for that property, and they ultimately become connected. So same for sewer and water connection if they have plans for that. But so that's what we kind of aim to do, is try to structure some uniform language so that people aren't kind of going off their merry way and making it just difficult for anybody to do anything in their communities. I know that some counties have went so far as to create what they call a rapid planning response program for applications. It's I don't know what kind of outcomes have come of that to basically bypass steps in the process that would otherwise the procedure and the process is in play for a reason. There are opportunities to bypass with the present structure of ordinances by asking for modifications to the ordinance. To just totally say that we're not going to require preliminary plan requirements, and then after that preliminary plan is approved, require final approval, would probably be detrimental to large scale projects, especially when there's a lot of community back and forth with the developers. For instance, like I would just say that, if we were to see, 500 or a 5 million square foot data center somehow find its way to Perry County, that, the public would want to have a review process conducted. They wouldn't want something fast tracked just for that development. There was a time, I think, under I think it was the Ridge administration, there was a group called Team PA. They're still in existence, aren't they, Marty?
Yep. Yes, they are.
Okay. You don't hear of them as much, but I know at the time they were recruiting a lot of businesses from outside of the state to come into PA, and they were successful in a couple of areas. In one of my former county, they came in and they were basically trying to get us to relax our requirements at the county level, and you know we we expedited processes. I mean, and we typically for all subdivision and land development reviews, if you were to go and ask a surveyor in the county how fast can a review be conducted on a project, they would probably say that Perry County does it probably as fast as any other county that we've ever come across. Um, for simple subdivisions like 1 to 5 lots or less, we'll typically kick it out within probably about 3 or 4 days. And we have under state law the allowance for 30 days. So um, even land developments, I wouldn't say that they would go beyond a week probably before they were reviewed, unless we get backlogged with a bunch of plans. So, but I think that there was, the process that I was kind of talking about for other counties. They've basically relaxed their ordinance requirements so that even the applicant isn't obligated to provide them with certain um, state permits. They kind of are left up to themselves to go get, which I don't know if that's a good thing, because I think that creates a situation where the developer's like, well, they gave me an approval, and oh, they didn't alert me on what else I needed, and I don't want to see companies get tripped up in the process and say, well, you know, Perry County didn't have its wits about it enough to tell us that we needed this, So I think the commission typically looks at like plans that they approve, which is only in 7 municipalities of the county. And they typically apply a conditional use arrangement or a conditional approval arrangement where they would issue an approval of a plan subject to the receipt of permit A, permit B, or whatever, whether it's a state highway occupancy permit from PennDOT, a DEP sewage permit, things like that, or an NPDS permit, National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit, which deals with like a disturbance of it over an acre of ground. So, yeah, that's in a nutshell what we've been doing. We kind of left the expedited development option on hold, and we could actually, I mean, at some point, we could all sit down and maybe discuss that at kind of greater lengths to see if there's anything that we could be doing more or encouraging our municipalities more to kind of think about. So, your thoughts on that, Marty?
You know, my issue is sadly, um, our infrastructure is just so old. And I mean, I always like to have high expectations, but I think about what you were talking about, Team PA. I know you got over that, but they don't come here because we don't have water, we don't have sewer, we don't have enough electricity. We now have, lots of properties that could be used for many things, but it so changing some of these ordinances, I'm not sure what that does, because I don't see the type of businesses that could actually come here that we desperately need that can actually develop here. So I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but I'm kind of, you know, that's where my mind goes, sadly,
Mhm.
we, with the business campus, we had so many people that wanted to, after we finished the hatchery, there were other people that came in and they were going to be great businesses, but we didn't have cats. But we just didn't sorry, that's my dog. You, people need sewage and they need water, and with today's technology, they need a lot of electricity. So I'm probably not the best person to give you I think that some of the ordinances are, even for small projects, it's probably overkill uh, when you think about it. But I understand that if it is a project that someone could do here in the county, yeah, I think that they would probably at some point say, well, we didn't have to do that. We didn't have to get that, but they really did have to get it. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm not sure I'm not being very positive here, and I want to be, but
I think the hardest part for the municipalities are they they are constantly. I know in like Newport's case, they they're always after monies for their sewer and water or the storm sewer and sanitary sewer separation projects.
right,
It it's just is never ending. It seems like they have to have it to get completely free and clear of all the requirements that have been kind of thrown their direction to correct what was a legacy left to each succeeding board.
right,
It's like they didn't create this nightmare that they're dealing with now, but they're having to resolve it.
yeah,
And so hats off to those community leaders that are actually you know saying, hey, we got to do something about this and be on a board to actually help steer this community out of this nightmare.
right,
Um, so so they're continuing to do that. And it's like other areas and other communities have such newer facilities that they're able to say, well, we can put so much money towards expansion. It's like
Mhm.
these folks are just trying to you know
Day of
put their
water.
fingers in the dike and
Yeah,
stop the water from leaking
right,
through it. It's
right,
like um, same for Duncannon. Duncannon's got that with their water system. It's just at some point they're going to find out what's been really draining their water supply. In
right.
Duncannon. It's sad. It really is. It's sad. It's been here since I've moved here in like 2004. It's like in Newport, it was, gosh, the school had to shut down like on a couple of occasions because the water situation there. They got that remedied, and they got a modern day filtration plant that I don't know if it operates at full capacity. I think it's up and running now, but for the longest time they had a difficult time getting that even working. That Xenon filtration system that's in the river there. I guess it's at the plant, but they take the water from the Junie at times. Um, so uh, for these other communities like Landisburg and um, you
Ugh,
know, and
right.
Blaine. I mean, Blaine doesn't even have sewer. It's
I
like
know.
it's we got to get something squared away, and I think they're on board now to actually participate in this Act 537 sewage plan that we're trying to embark on. For multiple municipalities and trying to satisfy DEP, because DEP is going to come down hard on them if they aren't in compliance on their planning. But by having a plan, hopefully that will chart the course to maybe correct,
Yeah,
that legacy that's been left to Blaine Borough with nothing to support like their sewage.
Oh, jeez.
I can't even imagine. Thank goodness they have water, public
Yeah.
water.
Jeez.
And that was only a couple of years back when they got that system because of what happened to the prior system. Was, I guess, some agricultural contamination of the water. So, yeah. So anyway, I mean, we're moving ahead, as a county as a whole. It's just some of this is very difficult to overcome, and there's a lot of real strong people out there that want to make sure that things like that are corrected. So, um, I guess Marysville's continuing to expand their facilities up Rockville, but that's all residential. I mean, we do need residential development to support our industry. But in Marysville's case, it's probably most of them are probably commuting out of the county to
Cumberland, Dolphin.
from that location. So I mean, New Buffalo, we've talked to them. They're already taking steps to try to, do some improvements to their sewer system that was put in a few years ago. We're hopeful that there could be some cooperation between Watts Township and New Buffalo. There's kind of, I think there'd been some kind of traditional separation that existed several years ago. I think when the plant went in, I think that they were trying to get some partnership from the township with that plant, and they were kind of left to do it alone. So then, I don't know if there's been talk about extending the lines outside of the borough, but I would hope that they would look at that, to help, the situation out, because it is a small confined system that is in an area that has some commercial development, that has a potential for some commercial development, and it'd be nice if it had the ability to connect to a sewer system. So, yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much what I had to talk about. Does anybody else have any thoughts before we maybe call the hour the hour? All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Marty.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Larry. We'll see y'all next time.
Okay.
Right. So we're talking January, probably. Yep.